Okay, here's my next video. This is part 5, my series. Let me go to here and let me go zoom out here. I'm going to stay in my PowerPoint distortion here. I'm having trouble getting the volume set where it doesn't distort, but it's not too faint either. So here I'm going to stay in my PowerPoint. Oh, it's distorting again. PowerPoint. Let me turn that PowerPoint chart. And because I can zoom in and out more. So let me go back and do that. See, I need to turn this down. Okay, it's too loud. This might be better right here. We'll see. I can't tell what it's going to sound like when I play it back here. So let me go back to here. And here, it's still distorting here. Oh, maybe it's just too loud here. Okay. All right. Trying to get all these volumes set is kind of hard. So I have these charts I've been making that are trying to show these topologies, and it's not easy to do because my tool, when I go to let me go to here, let me go, it's here, right? See, there's this format, and I'm limited there. Then I go to the other format. Where did it go? I learned, here's where I couldn't find it before. I need to go to here. Mathematical theology. And I have this format, but see, I can only move one thing at a time here. And when you zoom out, there's a lot of stuff here. So adding more gets kind of tedious. So there's that format, but here I can't really zoom in on things. But, you know, you could read this, but some of the other stuff isn't readable. So let me close that. So let me go back to my PowerPoint chart, just kind of showing you there's some method to my madness. So here I can zoom in because it's the native graphic. It's not pasted in something else. And so let me just kind of talk to this chart. And I'm not saying all this stuff is right, or even if there is a right or wrong. It just may be better or not as good, not right or wrong. And so I'm always trying to make it better. And so let me just go through this. It's like we start out here with in Revelation 12, so I'm kind of going backwards. This kind of I started trying to arrange things chronologically the way they're laid out in Revelation. Well, here I'm starting at the very end of it, the tree of life. But that's fitting too, because Genesis, we see the tree of life and the tree of knowledge of good and evil. So that tree sort of brackets it. It sort of starts the Bible off and ends the Bible. So that's a symmetry there. So just looking at sets, here's a set called the tree of life, or you can think it has other things like branches and just trunk and roots. I'm not showing those, but you get the idea. And so there's 12. Then it says 12 kinds of fruit yielding its fruit every month. And the leaves of the tree were for healing of the nations. So I haven't talked about the leaves. There's lots of leaves there. So and the whole idea is we're looking at numbers. When the Bible uses a number, it doesn't. When God uses a number, one would think he's not just picking some random number, but he chooses his number for a reason and for maybe a profound reason, because his thoughts are higher than ours. And so, and it's a way to organize, and it's just looking at topology is one of the basic things in mathematics, defines mathematical structures. So, so when I see a number, I'm going to create a topology of that number and then see if we can connect the dots. So here are the dots. These, in UniML speak, these could be white pearls. This drawing here could be slice. You could think this is swim lane island. So here's a swim lane island. Here's another one. Here's another one. And then you could have, but I'm not going to go to the UniML part of this, but you can kind of see it if you care about it. So we here, and here's what I call a one-to-one. There's a one-to-n mapping, like this maps. There's one thing maps to 12 things. So it's kind of this is a set, and this is the elements in the set. Or there's one-to-one mapping, saying this thing and this thing, they have something in common. At least we're putting them in the same swim lane here. You can think of it as swim lane. So and then we have, like, it talks about, and we're looking at the words themselves as keywords, like if you're going to search. So like months, every month. So then we think, God kind of picked these things. And so they want to treat it with some precision and not just slop over things. For instance, like most months have 12, most years have 12 months, but some years have a leap month, 8 hour 2. And that's not by accident. It's due to the actual astronomical events of how the months line up with the years. So and then we have 3 growing seasons and 1 season, winter, that's not a growing season. So how do we map that? Well, I laid out here, like I said, I thought we could have put winter here since the Hebrew day starts at night. But even so, it's just going to, as long as we maintain our, if you look at it from one direction, it looks this way. If you look at the mirror image, it's going to look the other way. So whether this is right or the mirror image is right, it depends on which way you're looking at something. You're looking at in front of it, it looks one way, and if you look at it from behind, it looks just the opposite. That's why the mirror images. You're looking at a mirror, you're actually looking at yourself from the mirror because the light bounces back. So enough of that. So then we have this 2 groups here, the group of 12 and this oddball 13, and 8 is in the winter, if I got this right. I think it is. So, and once again, this is kind of like a crossword puzzle. You can think this crossword puzzle. Here's down and here's across. And so the words, when they go down and across, they have to match like a crossword puzzle. And that's why you kind of cross-check things. I talked about that in the previous video. So we could cross-check things to see if they, maybe not make it right or wrong, but better fit or worse fit. That's what we're trying to do, is get a better fit, not the right fit, because there's no way to know from a human standpoint whether it's right or wrong. And so better or worse might be a better metric to use, better or worse. So we got these 2 things. We got this big thing and this little thing. And so let's go on down here and say, oh, okay, down here we have the woman with 12 stars in her crown, which fits, once again, that's kind of like a keyword. If we search that keyword, we'd find out that Joseph's dream, where he had the woman with 12 stars in her crown, or 12 stars. I don't know if it's crown, it's 12 stars. And it also had the sun and the moon. And so we have a bigger thing. The sun's bigger and it's light. It's growing season. And we have the moon, which is darker. And both of these give God in the beginning for signs and light, the moon. And now you have night during the summer too. I mean, in the moon phases, but but as far as it's darker in the winter, and the moonlight is going to you'll have longer periods in which the moon is bright because the night is longer, at least in the northern hemisphere. So where the majority of the world lives. So we'll pick that. We'll be a little biased here. Sorry, people in Australia and South Africa. We have a northern hemisphere bias here going. But so once again, is this right? What does that mean? Right or wrong? It just means it is. It is. Once again, I'm dealing with facts. Fact. We have 12 months in a year. And in a Julian calendar and our Gregorian, we use a leap. Every 4 years, we throw in an extra day. It's a leap year. And in the past, they wanted to keep the new moons aligned with the beginning of the month, so they went with this system, not leap years extra day every 4 years, but an extra month ever so often. So we see that, and then now that we look at there's fruits here. There's 12 fruits. And we think, oh, fruit of the spirits, that's what it is. And it's like, well, there's just 9 of those. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. But we have 3 fruits of light. The fruit of light consists in all goodness, righteousness, and truth. And we also could connect this to the holies. We have 3 holies: holy, holy, holy. Okay, so we're building up our typology here. That's all it is, just a topology. And let's see here, go over to here. I have these charts here. You could pause the video and read some of these. I'm not going to go through the details, but you can see where Adar is here in February, and so here's winter: December, January, February. Actually, winter goes a little bit into March, and the Adar 2 kind of overlaps a little bit with the spring, but then there's all these rules that define what starts the new year, and I'm not going to go there, but probably something there. So we have the crown, we have 6 and 6, 2 6s there. That's kind of interesting. Of 12, or you could break those down to 2 sets of 3s, or 4 sets of 3s. And then we have the woman. Anyway, we can kind of see here the menorah. We're going to shift gears and look at the menorah here and see how that might map to these swim lanes. And so let me zoom in here. And this is discovery. I'm kind of, every time I look at this chart, I see something new. So we could organize. So here's a version that was the Temple Society, I think, created. So one would think it's pretty authoritative. But we read here, 3 cups shall be shaped like almond blossoms in the one branch, a bulb and a flower, and 3 cups shaped like an almond branch. In the other branch, a bulb and a flower for 6. So this is describing each 6 of these branches are all the same. They have 3 cups, a bulb, a flower, and 3 cups. 3 cups, a bulb, and a flower. The flower has 4 petals. You read that somewhere else. And a bulb shall be under and here's the center branch. A bulb shall be under the first pair of branches. There's that bulb. Under the second pair, that's that bulb. Third pair, there's that bulb. But we also read here, there's 4 cups here. And the lampstand, 4 cups shall be shaped like almond blossoms, flowers. So we have 4 cups here, where we just have 3 cups here. So there's 4. So we're getting our topology. We have a 4 cups topology and a 3-3. So that's a different topology than the other one. That's the 4-3-3, 3-4-3 topology. And that seems to map to, and see, we could look at that topology and compare it to another topology, the 10 Commandments. We have 4 commandments directed toward God and 6 commandments directed toward men. And so these 3-4-3 topology seems to apply to the 10 Commandments. And that's important later on, because when you get down to the beast with 7 heads and 10 horns, we see that 10 coming back again. Those kind of look like anti-commandments. And there's 3 of those beasts, and there's 3 types of negation or corruption. So take the commandment, thou shalt not kill. There's the imitation, saying, oh yeah, I'm against murder. I'm against it, but you are a murderer. And that's kind of like in the sermon I just heard yesterday about Judas. Judas says, when Mary had poured oil on Jesus' feet and washed his feet with her hair, Judas protested and said, oh, you could have given that to the poor, where really that was his pretext, but his real motive is he was a thief and he wanted to steal. So that's kind of like the first corruption. Thou shalt not steal. Give to the poor, but I really want to steal. So that's, you profess the commandment, but you disobey it. It's only a servant lips only, but not in your heart. So that's the first corruption. The second corruption is your deception. Let's see. That was, one is you say, oh yeah, this is really, it's important. That's a good command. Don't steal, but you're actually a thief and you're hiding that. So the second corruption is I've heard that virtue is putting the right value on things, or goodness. In other words, money's not bad, but knowledge is better. If you put money over knowledge, you've corrupted it. And so that's the other one, is you devalue things. And so that's kind of like what the devil does, is like, oh, that's no big deal. Don't steal. I'm not sure if that's a good deal or not. That's no big deal. Go ahead and steal. It's no big deal. There's no consequence to it. So that's devaluation. So one is imitation or deception. The other level is devaluation. That's not important. And the third is the negation. It's like, let's go steal. And that seems to be the beast with the third beast, the one from the abyss. It's just, they say that goodness can exist without evil, but evil cannot exist without goodness. You have to have some good, like Adolf Hitler had to have a good heart and a good set of lungs just to live. If his heart failed, he'd die. Now, that doesn't mean he had a good heart in the sense that his heart was in the right place, but physically he had to have a good heart, even if it wasn't perfect. We all, so that negation of all good is so bad that it seems to be had been relegated to the abyss, and that's what, like the demons in the old, Jesus' day, he would threaten them to send them to the abyss if they disobeyed. So those are just totally the disobedient negation. So we kind of see we have the commandments, 10 commandments, then we have 3 sets of 10 horns. One set seems to be, oh yeah, I'm all for virtue in not stealing. In fact, look at me, I got an award for not stealing. I stole that award, by the way. The second one is, that's no big deal. Go ahead. Go ahead and eat that apple on the tree. You won't die. God, you won't die. And the third one is like, let's eat the apple on the tree because God told us not to. So at any rate, let me end here.